Hey friends, my name is Mal, and about a year ago, I made a video called Life After College and Tips on Dealing with the Struggle. To this day, it is still one of my most popular videos, and I think the reason why is because a lot of people can relate to the topic. People are still DMing me and messaging me about this topic and starting conversations and sharing their stories and the kind of struggle that they've been going through, and I feel like it's been super helpful because we're both kind of getting through it together, and I just feel good knowing that I wasn't alone, and so I'm hoping other people are feeling the same way. I kind of wanted to make an update video on my life as of now and the past year and what I've been kind of going through to get myself out of the rut. I'm hoping that this video will kind of inspire others and hopefully help them in their situation. Last year, as I said in that previous video, I was super depressed and I wasn't happy with my job. So I made the decision to quit my job and travel for the summer and kind of find myself, clear my head a little bit and narrow down what I am truly passionate about, what I really want to get out of life and how I can go about achieving it. Once I was kind of traveling and exploring and meeting new people, it made me realize what was important back home and what wasn't. Big part of why people don't leave their jobs that they're unhappy about is because of money. And when I was traveling, I kind of realized that money is so insignificant in the grander scheme of things because it gets you by, puts a house over your head and food on the table, but honestly, I had to start from scratch, and I feel like I sacrificed so much, and a huge part of it was money. I got back from my trips and I was faced with, okay, what am I going to do now? And I just started going in on applications. I was applying like no other. Day after day after day, I was getting rejections. I was revising my resumes, and nothing was happening for me for months. I hit a really dark place, and I was so distraught because I couldn't figure out where I could go. I really felt like everything I worked so hard for was going down the drain. Time was passing, and I was just sitting there just stagnant and not knowing what to do. It really takes a toll on your mental health, I feel, because I began to feel so much anxiety and depression. I honestly, there are times where I wouldn't get out of bed because I just didn't know, I was like, what is the point of me getting out of bed? What is the point of me doing these things? Why even, why? Why? I think what got me through is knowing that I really trusted in myself. Even though I had nothing, basically, I moved back home with my mom. I obviously didn't have an income. I had no experience. I felt like things were just hitting dead end one after another. What kept me positive was knowing that I trusted myself and knowing that I did have a lot to offer, and even though I didn't necessarily know how to narrow it down to words or even a job description, I knew that I was capable of doing a lot of things. Trusting myself really got me through, and when you're in that kind of state, you spend so much time alone. You think a lot about who you are, and you really break down the core values of what you believe in. Nothing humbled me more than being able to kind of sit there by myself and really dissect my values and core beliefs. For months when I was depressed, I sat at home. I looked up as many opportunities as I could. I had to swallow my pride for so many things, and I feel like I had this mindset that made this certain amount, so I had to make more than what I was making before, and I just knew that it had to be better. Man, did that knock me down a couple pegs, because I really had to realize that I was starting from scratch. I was starting from zero experience. Education was there, but it wasn't necessarily going to help me in this situation. I applied to the simplest of things, I even applied to administrative work. I wasn't even trying to do that. I was applying for other psychology roles, even though I wasn't trying to do that anymore. I just was so desperate that I needed a job. Then I stumbled upon an internship for a fashion/social media intern. It was going to help this personal shopper in her social media. For me, the one thing I really have been working on, I guess, in the meantime was blogging, taking photographs, doing social media, embracing any little opportunity I could get to have experience in some way. So my social media experience helped me get that internship. And even though it was unpaid, it was, in my mind, experience, so that I could, leverage that on my resume to hopefully appeal to at least one other person, one employer. And through her, I was able to network so much, and I met a lot of people, and I was lucky enough to kind of connect with them too. And I went to events with her. I filmed things for her and took photographs, and other people would notice me and say like, "Oh, are you a videographer? Are you a photographer?" Even though I wasn't, I said that I was, and that helped me gain other gigs, just faking it till I made it. Through them, I was able to kind of start booking gigs, photography gigs, and just doing little videos here and there. That was just kind of the start of what was to come. If I'm starting to value myself more, I feel like other people are going to value me as well. I started getting emails, I started getting gigs, I booked my very first photography gig, I booked my first video gig, and from then I'm still kind of working on that. It has been such a goddamn journey. I feel so happy doing it. I feel so blessed. So I've been working towards that in the meantime while looking for other jobs. I applied to Yelp. I applied to startup. Then opportunities started to come. I started applying again. I continued to work my ass off. I applied to one company that was looking for an assistant buyer. They just needed someone who had retail experience, working with negotiations, being able to communicate with people, things like that. I was thinking, okay, I don't know if I have the experience for it, but I'm gonna try it anyway. I went through this whole process: an interview, a test, another interview, and then another interview. 4-step process. It lasted 2 whole months. The last and final interview, I got along with the interviews really well, and I felt like it just really clicked for me. Felt promising. So I wasn't going to put all my eggs in that basket because I still wasn't sure, but I felt promised. I was patient. And then this week I got the call that I got a job offer. Oh my God, I had tears streaming down my eyes. It's been a whole year and I've worked so hard. It was finally paying off. They recognized, what I could offer to them. And they even actually liked that I had a psychology degree because I was able to communicate with multiple people and kind of get an insight on people with different backgrounds, I guess. So that really helped actually in my experience in this job position. So even though the job itself has nothing to do with psychology, my degree helped. I can't even tell you how happy I freaking feel now. Going from a dark place to finally getting your first gig, your first opportunity, meeting people, and then finally landing that job. I could cry right now. I feel really emotional right now. I could cry. To look back at how far I've come from that person last year who was so depressed, I could say it's been a crazy year. I want to show people that good things can happen and you don't have to stay in a shitty job. You don't have to stay in it for money. You don't have to stay in it, because it's safe. I think what pushed me was getting out of my comfort zone and being so vulnerable in myself that I had to do what I had to do, I'm hoping that sharing my story will motivate and inspire other people to chase their passion. There are a million reasons why you shouldn't, but I think just having one really big, good reason why you should is enough to jumpstart your life in achieving happiness. So I want to share 5 tips I've come up with that can hopefully help you find your passion, regardless of how many people say no and how many people doubt you. My first tip I have is don't limit what you are capable of. Don't limit yourself to saying, I can't do this because I don't have the experience. I don't know enough people, or I don't know where to start. If you limit yourself, then you're only going to be capable of that much. Believing that you can do anything in the world, I feel like is enough to any possibility. The second tip is to be willing to sacrifice a lot. So I sacrificed where I was living, having a steady income. I sacrificed my ego. My third tip is to don't be afraid to push yourself out of your comfort zone and just go for it. If you are always going to be comfortable, you're never going to know what is out there. You never know what new things could come. You can't find a solution being in the same place you found your problem or something like that. I don't know if that's the right quote, I'm sorry. But my fourth tip I have is to take time to reflect to yourself and just figure out what you really, really want, what you're capable of, what you want to offer, what you are willing to risk and give up for this. Narrowing down just the basic core values of what you really want is going to help you so much in the long run, because you realize what is important to you and what isn't. The fifth and final tip I have is just trusting in yourself. Trust that you will get out of this. If you know what kind of person you are, for example, me, I know that I can't be in one place at once. I know that. So I know that I'm not going to always be in this place. I wasn't going to be someone who wanted to stay stagnant, and I wasn't going to let myself. You can achieve what you want out of your career, out of your life, out of your goals. I hope this video helped in some way for you. I know that it was kind of jumbled, and I feel like I can go on and on and on about this topic. You have support out there, and if you don't, you can feel free to message me. I understand that finding your passion is so difficult, and even more difficult is trying to pursue it if you're not in that state. Thank you so much for listening and following with my journey. I'll see you guys later. Bye.